Be a bit more. Hello everyone, welcome to Daily Blues here on 100% Chelsea. All the latest, no longer transfer news to do with Chelsea Football Club, just news and topics and discussions. Today, same boys, same crowd, same panel. Tony, son of Chelsea, Louis, say hello guys.
You alright? How you guys doing?
What's up? Hello everyone. Awesome. Now, today, as it's the end of the transfer window and we're no longer talking about transfers, it's clear that we're going to have to start talking about topics and things that are being mentioned all around the club. Now, first, what we're going to talk about is this whole Gillo Bodji thing that's happened tonight. Obviously signed yesterday, deadline day, got him from Nantes for around, I've heard, 4 million. Yeah. He hasn't been picked for the Champions League squad. Later on, in a bit after we finish this, we'll talk about the teams that Chelsea fans hate the most. We're going to list them and tell you exactly why Chelsea fans hate all these different teams. But before we get to that, guys, Gillo Bodji hasn't been picked for the Champions League squad. A few theories have been coming out. Some have been saying it's Mourinho's way of telling the board, I didn't want this guy, what you doing? More theories coming out saying, oh, he's just possibly being used for the Premier League only, as depth for the Premier League. Others saying that because we have a limited amount of English and homegrown players, he's the one that's had to be sacrificed. Where do you think we stand on this? What do you think is the truth behind this story, Tony?
I think the last one, personally.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any truth in the fact that Mourinho didn't know about this transfer.
Yeah.
And I think that's just pure speculation and just another reason to, I suppose, have a go at the club, really.
Yeah.
I just think, obviously, there's got to be casualties when you name a Champions League squad. And I would imagine, that's the reason. I can't think of anything other than that, to be fair.
Yeah.
That's it, really, buddy.
That's fair. Daniel, where do you think we stand on this? What's the truth?
Yeah, of course you've got to have homegrown players in there. If you're going to sacrifice, I mean, I'd been infuriated if Loftus-Cheek hadn't been in that squad. I don't think he would have been left out of it. But that's the and we have got quite a big squad, so you're always going to have to leave one or two players out. It's interesting because he was brought in. He signed yesterday for Chelsea, and next day he's left out of the Champions League squad. So I wonder how he's feeling. But yeah, he's not going to be a massive player for us. So it's not like he's one of the key players. So I don't think I'm that disappointed about it. I'm not even that shocked about it, in truth.
Okay, that's true, Louis.
I just think it's a load of rubbish that people are talking about it. I don't understand why. I mean, the guy signed for Chelsea. Yeah, he's not in the Champions League squad, but I just do think he's squad depth. I don't think there's anything massive to it. I just think the fact that I look on BBC News this morning or when I wake up when it's about 1 o'clock or something, and then it says Gillo Bodji not in the squad for Champions League, and that's the main news. And it's just it's ridiculous. I mean, the guy, he is going to offer squad depth. That's all there is to it, if you ask me. He cost us £4 million. If we wanted someone to be on our Champions League squad, we would have gone for someone like Stones or something, or Garay, who would have cost us that a little bit more. Well, a little bit more, a lot more.
I mean, yeah, fair play. Because of this, we've had Loftus-Cheek, Bertrand Traore, Kennedy. All these have been picked for the Champions League squad. They're in the squad. So I guess that's a plus. And again, we've spoken throughout the whole transfer window and in the past. The media love to feed off Chelsea and come up with a story for Chelsea. And this is a blinding opportunity for them to say, oh, look, Mourinho didn't know about it. Chelsea are in meltdown again. Board and Jose tension, Roman Jose tension. I think it's just a...
Also, Eunice, is the fact is he's actually only left out of the group stage squad. He could be back in for the knockout squad. So...
yeah, there is always that. You're right.
If we get that far, so it's a bit kind of ridiculous to. Yeah, like Louis says, I don't know why it's a piece of news. Every year a player gets left out. Usually they're players that are not first team regulars. So what's the big deal? It's
because they need to keep it going, Dan. They need to keep, sort of just going over and over and over, finding more and more sort of reasons to bring us up, and oh, it's another conspiracy. Oh my God,
Yeah.
It's
It's just,
I mean,
it's actually infuriating. It's ridiculous.
It is. It gets way too over the top. But we've been through worse. I mean,
yeah.
we feed off this. It's fine.
True.
Media, you can write a whole newspaper about us. We don't care. I mean, with this whole Gillo Bodji thing, it's surprising for me to believe that the board will go ahead with a panic buy transfer. Okay, they'll go out and buy someone out of panic without even notifying Jose.
That is a bit weird.
Unbelievable. That is unbelievable. I don't think that can at a football club like Chelsea. It can't happen. Surely.
No.
No. No. It happened.
Absolutely.
It happened once. That was Shevchenko, and
Look how that ended up.
even Jose said that, and exactly look how that ended up. So.
And that was because that was Roman Abramovich, really, wasn't it? I mean,
yeah.
Obviously that was almost like a personal friend of his as well, wasn't it, Andrei Shevchenko? And
Exactly.
But obviously we've moved on so much since that. This is a totally different relationship, and no, it's all rubbish.
A lot of BS as far as I'm concerned. A lot of BS. Welcome to Chelsea, Gillo Bodji. Hope to see you soon in the Premier League at least. That's all we can say really. But onto the main topic of this video, and seeing as the transfer window is over, as I've said, we're going to focus on teams that Chelsea fans hate. And there's a whole list, and when I say hate, I don't mean literal hate, where I'm just like, I hope you as a club die. Like, no. There's rivalries, there's spats, there's tension. Yeah. Those clubs, as I've said, there are loads. Let's name a few contenders, guys. I'm going to start with... you can start off. Go on, Louis.
Spurs. Sorry, I had to get that in there.
Spurs.
Just literally... That's a club I hate. That is a club I do hope run into the ground. I hate that club. I hate them. I know it's in our blood, but I really hate them. Like, I really hate them. But go on. Who else were you going to start with?
I'm going to start with Spurs, but yeah, go on.
I'll chuck the next contender in. Liverpool.
Yeah, definitely Liverpool. But that's been quite a late rivalry. I've said, like, nothing too old school. I think it's a rivalry that really exploded with Mourinho and Benitez.
Well, it's the fact that we've played them so many times, and they've not been unimportant games, have they? 3 Champions League semi-finals. We've had the ghost goal, we had the penalties, and then we got our revenge on the 3rd occasion. We had the quarter-final in the Champions League. We even played them in the group stages. We played them in an FA Cup final, and we played them in the League Cup final and countless semis. We've had the Steven Gerrard 2-0, his famous slip. We've had the 2010 back pass, which led us to the double. We've had mental, but you are right, it's pretty much the last sort of 15 years. But I actually think it's quite a dark rivalry now. For me, it's overtaken the Spurs one. And it all started really with Benitez and attacking us about the flags, and that's why we never really took to Benitez. Let's be honest.
Yep.
But it's anyone that's ever been to Anfield will tell you. And every time we play, you can feel it. You can feel the atmosphere goes up another, few decibels, and you can feel the tension in the air. Listen, they don't like us, and we don't like them. And for me, I like Louis going on about Tottenham, which, by the way, equally I hate as well. And I have to say that, but that goes back, many, many years, all the way back to '67 and the first London Cup final, the Jimmy Greaves scenario. I mean, Jimmy Greaves was our player, and then
explain, like, give us a little bit of a history lesson. Here's the guy who's going to come and say you ain't got no history. Well, it turns out.
Jimmy Greaves
tell us why Tottenham, Chelsea,
why
do we hate Tottenham?
Well, I mean, it does go back to that period of time. Jimmy Greaves obviously was our player. As a 16-year-old, he was prolific centre forward. actually he was quite ill recently, and glad to see he's recovering, so to speak. And then obviously we sold him overseas, and then he went on to Tottenham, and he done equally as well. And obviously the 1967 Cup final was the first All London Cup final where they actually beat us 2-1. But there's other factors too. 74, 75. I don't know if you know about this, but both sides were battling against relegation. Tottenham were, I think, a point below us at the time with 3 games to play. We went to White Hart Lane, they beat us 2-0, and then we went on subsequently to lose the next 2 games, and we got relegated. But it's down the years. I mean, this has been going on for decades now. Obviously, there is a you got to say it. There's been an hooligan situation between the 2 clubs. I think it's well documented that if you was to ask that section of Tottenham fans, they'd mention Chelsea, and vice versa. Chelsea would mention Spurs. Yeah. And 25 years they haven't beat us at Stamford Bridge. That's a quarter of a century. They've got an appalling record actually, and we've got more wins against them. And of course, if you do look back in history and you go back to the 60s, 61 was when they won the double. That was the last time they won really anything of any significance. And of course, at that period of time, you have to say Tottenham were the bigger club. But obviously, and we're not just talking the Abramovich years, we're talking prior to Abramovich, we've slowly overtaken them and obviously gone whizzing past, Yeah. And obviously left them where they are. But that rivalry, I think for most Chelsea fans, would say Tottenham. It's almost inbred, it's in your DNA.
It is, yeah.
I think if you're sort of 30 and younger, you'd say Liverpool. For me, I think Liverpool now is either on a par or just nicking it, But those two for me.
It's fair. Well, Dan, do you agree? I mean, do you have a hate for Tottenham?
I probably should hate them more. I mean, I've had this discussion several times. I probably should have more of a hatred for them. I mean, considering I was 5 years old when I first went to a Chelsea game, 2003, pretty much my whole kind of life as a Chelsea fan it's been the rivalry with Liverpool. So that's why naturally Liverpool is the most hated team for me. The time that I've been supporting Chelsea, I haven't grown up with a case where, of course, Tottenham, you're known to hate Tottenham. You naturally do. It's kind of in your blood, but it's not the hatred isn't as there as it is for Liverpool. I think for me at least, it runs deep with Liverpool. It's very kind of a personal kind of rivalry that I think you ask most Chelsea fans now. I agree with Tony. I think kind of the older kind of generation do say Tottenham, but I think the newer generation is kind of Liverpool, because the older generation, we were never really competing with Liverpool in terms of trophies, in terms of when we used to play Liverpool. You watch back, even maybe not when we won 4-2 against them in the FA Cup, coming back from 2-0 after the break. I remember stories about that game, about how, I know this is kind of going off track, but that game against Liverpool in the FA Cup, and my dad and my brother were there, and my brother was crying at half time as Chelsea were 2-0 down and wants to go home, and my dad was like, we're not going home. And of course Chelsea come out in the second half and score 4 goals. So which I still kind of giggle at. But of course we've had so many amazing nights against Liverpool, as we've had so many heartbreaking nights against Liverpool. So for me it has to be Liverpool by far. I mean, I guess maybe we'll come on to why we dislike them so much, but I think, yeah, Liverpool, it's the one that sticks out in my mind most.
Yeah.
I have to say also that I chuck myself in with old school, but the old school, I'm talking, because we don't forget we had a massive successful period in the 1970s. We won the FA Cup 1970, European Cup Winners' Cup 71 was, I think, the League Cup was 72, and we were fighting, for trophies around that period of time. But the most successful side at that time was Leeds. They were called Mighty Leeds because they were in 1970 Cup Final, 72, 73,
they changed
75 European Cup.
They changed their shirts from blue to white to look like Real Madrid. That's a fact I know about
Well,
Leeds.
they were called Mighty Leeds, but then obviously they went on to become Dirty Leeds. And I mean, we had a massive rivalry with them. So I think people over and above my age group, because I was too young to appreciate those times in the 70s. They'd always say Leeds and Spurs.
Yeah.
I think my age group would probably say Tottenham, but then a lot of people my age are saying Liverpool now. Liverpool. So, but of course, I can well imagine for your age group, Dan and Louis, I imagine it's got to be Liverpool, isn't it?
No, it's really not. It's really not.
I think that's one of the things
For me, it's really not.
I may have said this on here before, but kind of in relation to Tottenham, my granddad had gone to see before last season's cup final. He'd gone to see 2 cup finals between Chelsea and Tottenham, and he'd seen us lose both. And it was funny that he going to see the one last March, third time lucky, we beat them.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe from his point of view, it is Tottenham. I do, and you hear stories about. I've been told stories about Tottenham and Chelsea fans not off the pitch, because that's what it mostly is. The hatred is definitely, you hear. So I've heard some songs from both sets of fans that I just think that's nothing in relation to the pitch. It's a lot to do with events off the pitch, and talk about headhunters and the hooligans. I think that's where probably the hatred stemmed from more than anything. It probably isn't there as much as it used to be. But
It still is.
I could be. No, I'm not talking about I think because there is a large majority of Chelsea fans of the generation of myself who don't hate Tottenham as much. I'm not saying that there is no hatred between the clubs. That'd just be ridiculous. But I don't think it's at the extreme levels that it was.
No, you're
in
right.
Previous times.
It has gone more towards Liverpool, isn't it? It's like we've left Tottenham. Yeah, it's like we've left Tottenham where they are. It's like it is kind of. You are right about that. I've noticed that we always used to sing "There's only one week to Tottenham" and all that sort of stuff, but or 5 days to or whatever. Don't get me wrong, it's a massive game. New Year's day at White Hart Lane was actually appalling. I can tell you that for nothing. Anyone that's been to Spurs, that walk to Seven Sisters Station is like the walk from hell. And after that, seriously, there's no hiding place. It's one of the worst walks, I can tell you. But I think Liverpool is. You are right about that. It's definitely overtaken. And funny enough, and no one's mentioned Arsenal yet, but I've always found not really a massive sort of hatred, and I'm going back more years than you guys with Arsenal, but I have noticed that's starting to turn a bit in the last sort of 2-3 years, and I don't know whether that's because we've caught them or we're slightly ahead of them now.
I think it's coming. The hatred is, for the last 10 years, the hatred has been growing from one side of that.
It's more social media, isn't it? It's more.
Yeah, because I think there's the hatred and bitterness comes from one side, and I think Chelsea fans, for a lot of the time, as we've been winning trophies and overtaking Arsenal, I think, I don't know exactly, that you could pick up a list of things that have been. I mean, you could say Chelsea FC ruining Arsenal fans' lives since 2003. I mean, you could literally say that, because that's the way it's been, and that's where the hatred has come from. The bitterness has come from that side. I don't know. I mean, it's weird. Just go on Arsenal. It's kind of weird, because in the early days of supporting Chelsea, I was always kind of in the mindset that Arsenal were kind of this club that we'd never beat. That always had it over on us. We'd go over to. I'd always be the very optimistic one and say that we'd beat them, and my parents would look at my dad and my brother would look at me like I'm sort of like just stupid. Why would you think that Chelsea were going to beat Arsenal?
Especially at Highbury. Go to Highbury and be like, I'll take a draw.
Yeah. By the end of that season, I'd seen Chelsea lose 3 times. The first season supporting Chelsea, I'd seen Chelsea lose 3 times to Arsenal. Twice at Highbury, one in the league, one in the FA Cup, and at the time they came to the Bridge and beat us. And I'd never seen a team play that fluid football, and I remember watching the likes of Vieira and Henry and thinking Chelsea are just never gonna, we're just being played off the park. We done quite well on that day, but just the convincing nature of the way Arsenal beat us, and you think you go back, maybe what was it, 2 seasons ago now, to when we're beating them 6-0 at the Bridge. It's kind of ridiculous, but That's the way it is. I think there has been. I think social media has kind of grown. I think social media grows a lot of there's a lot more hatred because it's easier to hate on other fans now. It's like literally you can find a social media account of. That's why I've kind of held back from arguing with opposition fans because you just see it all day. Chelsea fans arguing with Arsenal fans arguing with United fans. You know, the arguments just go on. So social media really hasn't helped that in a way. It's kind of just fed into arguing with fans all day, which you'd see a lot of people doing. But I think that, yeah, I do agree with Tony. I think in the past couple of years, it has kind of grown a little bit more. With us winning the Champions League, I think the two things that probably gets to Arsenal fans the most about Chelsea, excluding the 6-0, is us winning the Champions League and Ashley Cole. I think they're the two things that probably irk at Arsenal like that. That's the thing that eats away at them, probably, in my mind.
I mean, with Arsenal, I have to mention there's a difference. Yeah, you know, for us, I want to say as Chelsea fans, we don't hate Arsenal.
No, we never have. No.
Arsenal fans seem to hate Chelsea.
I think you're right.
But we don't hate Arsenal because, let's face it, for the last 10 years or so, they really haven't been on our level. So what's to hate? You know.
That's why I love at school when you have an argument, unless it's Ty or Robbie or something like that, where I can have a proper conversation with about it. When I go into school and Arsenal fans come up to me and say, "Yeah, we're better than you, got this, and that." Champions League, we won the league. We're still the current champions. You haven't won it in 11 years. Well done you. You've returned the FA Cup, but we've won what 4 in that time, maybe more. I don't know. Just because we got a lot of them, so it all goes back in my head really. Then you got a couple of League Cups we got in there as well, haven't we? 2? Is it 2? We beat you 6-0. 3. Thank you, Tony. 3. We beat you 6-0. You may have beaten us this season, but Mourinho has 14 or 15 on Wenger. So 14, 15 plus, or against 1 basically. So it's just you can have that conversation, guys. But come back to me when you have a decent argument because this is how it will always go. That's literally what it is.
But this is the thing, though, and I go back to this. I think it's a very, very modern day thing where it's more social media. It's more online wars with Arsenal. I can't honestly, even now. I mean, I imagine there'd be quite a lot turning around and going, "Yeah, Arsenal, we hate Arsenal." But I can only talk about which I talked about when I was on Arsenal Fans TV with Claude. But funny enough, he must be watching because he said, "You're old school, 8 Leeds." I remember the games in Cardiff, the FA Cup final and the League Cup final. And, we're talking about London going to Cardiff en masse on the trains. All the trains were full of Arsenal and Chelsea, all mixed together. And in particular, the League Cup one, where we won, I remember that we got there at half time because there was about 11 or 12 or 13 trains that didn't make it because of signal failure at Newport. Anyway, cut a long story short, we scored, they scored. The train went up. We scored. The train went up. And you know what? It was class. But not only that, on the way back, can you imagine 80,000 Londoners all trying to get back to the same. And I'll tell you now, right? There was no tension. There was no hassle. And honestly, I remember being on that train half and half, chatting to Goonies all the way home. If that was Tottenham, that would never have happened in a million years.
Or West Ham. Yeah.
Well, that's 100%, or Millwall, or one of those clubs, or any other club. All I'm trying to say is, I don't think there's a hatred.
No.
But maybe I'm wrong, and this is why this today is it's not just about us.
Because, Tony, I think what you're saying is like this is very new in terms of like hatred. So it's hatred on social media.
Yes.
So it's not hatred on like actually at the games. I mean, I remember Robbie doing interviews after the game last year and beating them 2-0, and I remember walking past where he was doing the interviews. He was literally doing it, close to like the main entrance basically, and there were literally Chelsea fans flooding past him. And just like, no, and I was thinking, he's clearly got his Arsenal shirt on. Everyone knows who he is. There was no trouble at all at that game. And he was doing the same the year before. Maybe that's because Chelsea won, and you could say maybe Chelsea fans weren't really...
I had a, that face-off with Claude, didn't I? And it was who's the bigger club and this, that, and the other. And I mean, he went with Arsenal, I went with Chelsea. I've got to be honest with you, there really isn't a great deal in it. If you look at the worldwide fan base, you look at the social media aspect, there's not a lot in it. But if you wound the clock back 20 years ago or 15 years ago, it was definitely Arsenal. So they're probably feeling it a little bit. Let's have it, in the last 10 years, like Louis said, they've not won the league, or 11 years. And of course, we've gone on and on and on and on. And then, of course, once we lifted the Champions League, by the way, the first London side to do it, I imagine we've got completely on their nerves because Claude's coming in now. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, he's ringing me. But we'll leave that one. But all I was going to say is, I'd imagine they're probably pissed off.
That's the thing with Arsenal, because remember they had, to be fair, the late 90s, the early 2000s, they were the side. Them and Man United.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And Arsenal eventually just got better and better and better. The Invincibles happened. They had a golden team. And suddenly it just went down. And since then, it's just kept going down. And I think they've just developed this anger.
Bitterness. That's the right word.
They've just gone, what has happened to our club? And in the same time, we have gone up. And we've just gone up and up and up. And we've practically overtaken them. And they don't like it. To be fair to them, if I was in their place, I wouldn't like it. So that's
the same thing with Liverpool, because if you put yourself into the shoes of Liverpool, Liverpool never become what they were at that time. They dominated. Anyone that's over and above 40 years of age will tell you. Liverpool had everything. Literally, they were winning everything.
Side.
They were the team, but that'll never, ever, ever happen again. Yeah, if you're a Liverpool supporter and you was around in those, you must be absolutely distraught. And and of course now, I see ourselves as a bigger club because of lots of different aspects. Obviously not in terms of trophy hauls, but there's a lot of parts to being a big club. Do you know what I'm saying? And this is, I think, the thing that must really get on Arsenal fans' nerves a little bit. The fact that we've I think we've overtaken them. I think we all do, but they'll beg to differ on that one. But I think we've probably got on their nerves a bit, and it is what it is. But I don't think there's hatred, although I do think the last 3 years it's stepped up a level.
Yeah, exactly. Louis, do you have any hatred for Arsenal, or you just, you just see them on the side and go, hello, lads?
Basically, that's what it is, So I see Arsenal fans, they come up to me, it's like they start trying to, get under my skin. It just really doesn't work because, over the past 10 years, I just rattle stuff off. And I say we've won a Champions League. They go, we've won the Invincibles. I go, yeah, well done you. You did the Invincible season. That's great. That is a great achievement. Don't get me wrong. But the fact that the next season we beat them, that record, we didn't beat the record, but we got record points. We conceded less goals, we scored more goals, and we had a better goal difference. So across the whole board, we were just better.
Yeah.
And we lost one game that season, and that was against, I think that game was Manchester City, and that was before they had all the money and stuff. So that's interesting.
And the Invincibles got knocked out of the Champions League.
Exactly.
By us, yeah.
There we go. That's another thing. I'm writing that down. You learn something new every day, don't you, lads? I'm getting a little. I'm gonna have a little notebook.
I think that's when the tide began to turn.
Yeah, it was that game. I think signified a lot.
Yeah, and listen, they're not going to like it. I don't expect them to agree with us. And they'll be coming out with whatevers. But you've got to be honest. We are now. We're either on a par with them or bigger than them now.
Yeah, exactly. And again, that's where I feel that
not a lot in it.
Hatred is a strong word. I think there's a big rivalry. Both are big clubs. You have to admit.
Yeah.
Unlike Tottenham, now they're no longer a big club. Well, in England at least. Arsenal still are. Whether you like it or not, they still, their success is still quite recent. It's still quite, it's not that old. They are still considered a big club. They're always top four. They're always Champions League. They're still a big club. And that's where I think there's respect, from both sides on the achievements that both have had. There's respect, but a massive rivalry. It's just, as of late, we've been on the upper hand, and Arsenal have been on the lower hand, and that's where they probably feel a bit more hatred than we do. But hatred is a strong word for Chelsea Arsenal. I think it's just a big rivalry.
I honestly, there's the one club I hate more than anything. Who's that? What's going on?
What? Yeah.
the only club I actually hate with a passion is Spurs. That is it. I mean, I dislike other clubs, but I hate Spurs. I hate them. I mean, the reason I hate them is the fact, right, my first ever trip I said this in my interview to you outside Wembley, Eunice. My first ever trip to Wembley, my first ever cup final, my first ever loss, Spurs 2008. And, you know, that's just stuck with me. I mean, I know we got it back on them last season, but it doesn't mean anything. I still hate Spurs for that because it was my first ever loss. And I'm just there sort of like, when I went to Chelsea games, I think I'd gone to 6 or 7, maybe 8 before that. And, you know, that was sort of, I'd won every single one. So I go into this as an 8-year-old thinking, yeah, we're going to win this. We're going to see Chelsea win a trophy. And we lose. And I'm just there going, what do I do? But seriously, what do I do? All I remember is breaking down, crying, saying that they cheated, which is what an 8-year-old's excuse is for everything. If you lose something, the other person's cheated. So, you know, that's it. I hate Spurs. That's it.
So other contenders. So we've got we whacked 3 in, haven't we? We said Arsenal,
Barcelona.
We've done, before we get there, I want to mention the team that we should hate. Chelsea fans say they do hate, but they're never ever brought up. Man United.
Meh.
Exactly. Why is that? I mean, Man United have been the most successful team in the last 25 years or something.
Us and them. In terms of trophy hauls, it's quite equal. You know, in the last 15 years. You know, I think there's a kind of grudging respect.
Yeah, it is. And you know what? I really think it's Alex Ferguson and Mourinho. That massive respect. I think now United and Chelsea fans just look at each other and go, all right, who's going to win this one then? You know, it's just because Alex Ferguson and Mourinho is just going to love each other.
I think for me, Man City annoy me more than United.
Man City annoy me. I don't hate them. They're just a team that annoy me. It's there going,
they're just there.
It's like, you know, those things you have, like if you in a cartoon where someone has a thing on their shoulder and it just keeps going on and on and on in your ear and you just want to flick it off like that. That's what I feel about Man City. I just feel like that and just crash it and then push it off my shoulder.
It's true. They're always there.
Eunice said when we was up there, the word he kept using every time he was walking around that campus of theirs, he kept going, cringe.
Cringe.
Yeah.
Cringe.
This is cringe. This is cringe, Tone.
I think I said that word about 100 times at the
cringe.
Also, United have been. I think from my point of view, United have never been. Their fans have never been that much of a problem. I think the biggest annoyance from them is the fact that most of them do live down here. But
exactly. Man United fans, did you see that thing that the Football Republic did? And so, see, I support Man United because my granddad,
my granddad lived.
It's just like.
Funny enough, with regards to United, you know, we talk about, you know, the hooligan situation and everything else. Home and away, last season, both those games, there was a bit of trouble outside Stamford Bridge. Yeah. I don't know if you remember down by the coaches and all that, and it does tend to always be. And I can tell you also in the away game at Old Trafford, as we were coming out, you know, when you got the 50, you know, the Munich clock and all that. On the forecourt there, it was all kicking off there as well. You know, and the horses coming, you know, with Chelsea and United. So, you know.
Also, I think United have, as I was saying about it is a bit of annoyance about their fans. But other than that, I mean, I've never had a problem with most of their fans, and I think they're probably, along with us, are probably the most hated team.
Yes, we share that one.
We kind of share that in a way, and I think, you know, United and Chelsea are probably the most scrutinised team in the Premier League. Scrutinised teams in the Premier League, they really are. Even at times, you know, Van Gaal's constantly under scrutiny. So is Mourinho for Chelsea. That's probably the reason. They've never been that much. I don't know. Obviously, there is stuff that there's like Rio Ferdinand, you know, and There is other reasons, I guess, in the past to dislike United. Of course, we lost the Champions League final to them, so of course there are reasons. It's not like I like them. No, it's nothing like that. But I do think there maybe is a little bit in kind of parallels in some cases on both clubs and the hatred they receive.
I mean, I think with United, there's aspects that not just us, but everyone didn't like about United. For example, Fergie time, the referees, their late goals in injury time every single weekend. They'd always just snatch it out of nowhere.
Moscow,
like
2008.
Yeah, exactly. But again, with United, it's nothing personal with United. I think it's just complete footballing terms. It's just footballing situations.
There are clubs who we haven't played in years that I hate more than United. There are clubs that I hate more that aren't even in the same league as us.
Yeah.
Barcelona.
Maybe the thing is with Barcelona, it's kind of weird because you don't expect to have a rivalry with them, but I actually think we do. I think there has been that rivalry, and it's kind of in a way cool to have a rivalry with Barca because we do have we've had it over on them. In most cases, I think it's actually quite even between the two clubs now, but especially in 2012, I put Leeds, Millwall.
Yeah, Millwall.
But that's about the fans, isn't it?
Leeds.
Millwall is a pure hooligan. It's a hooligan rivalry. Nothing football about it.
People in the chats are calling us, calling us a hooligan firm. We're all disgusting. We're all that. Sorry, Millwall of all. Have you not seen the football firm? Have you not seen Green Street? Millwall, the club that's always in them.
They're practically the godfathers of hooligans, aren't they?
But that Leeds game when we played them a few years ago in the League Cup, the 5-1, my brother went to that game, and just the stories he was telling me about how basically they got off the train, and then instantly they kind of shut the train station when the train arrived at Leeds. Well, it wasn't even at Leeds. I think it was 20 minutes away from the Leeds station. Got all the Chelsea fans in coaches, drove them to the stadium. When they got out of the game, was kind of guarded around with police, getting them into the coaches. Once they got to the coaches, there was nearly 50 Leeds fans waiting for the Chelsea coaches, so they had to close the train station again. And literally, the Chelsea fans that got into the train going on the way home were guarded with police. So that kind of shows you the sort of animosity between Chelsea and Leeds. And I definitely, there's a massive smile on my face when Leeds lose a game.
No, definitely.
Going back to Liverpool though, it used to annoy me. It really used to annoy me in the 80s, and everyone used to go how great Liverpool were. Their fans and how marvellous they were and everything else. Anyone that used to go to away games back in those days, it used to be one of the worst experiences ever. I swear to God, there's you've got the park that separates Everton and Liverpool, Stanley Park, very aptly named. Yeah. And I swear to God, it used to be horrendous. You used to get on them green buses from Lime Street, and honestly, it used to one of the worst places ever.
Can I talk about
they used to go, oh, wonderful they are. I don't think so.
Can I talk about why I think talking about Liverpool, and maybe because we've discussed who we hate. But can we now discuss why we hate these, I guess, because we haven't really gone in depth. We've gone in depth about United, but kind of more in depth about Liverpool.
You see that with Liverpool? Do you see that, okay? See that? That's a football. That's it there. It didn't cross the line.
No, what I was going to say about just the reason I truly dislike Liverpool, it's the arrogance, it's the deludedness of all of their fans, it's the self-entitlement their fans have about how great their club is, how they're entitled to win every trophy every single year, the deluded mentality they have. Half of the stuff they say you can't really understand anyway. But alongside from that, what I'm going to say is it's also the media. It's just the media. I think the media is the massive part of it. It's the media loving towards Liverpool. And what you've got to remember is, other than the Champions League victory, which was amazing, but Munich is still better than it in my opinion. What have Liverpool done in the past 10 years other than Munich? I'm sorry, not Munich. What am I saying? Istanbul. What have they done other than that? So why is there a loving? And half of their ex-players are always on TV, the propaganda machine. When Raheem Sterling's leaving Liverpool because he wants to advance his career, and he's clearly showing that he's doing that this season, you get all the old Liverpool pundits going, almost like politicians. You know, you have Scouse Sports, the 3-hour presentation they had about Gerrard's last game on Sky, and it really blows up in their face. You know, and one of the best things about the game when Gerrard slipped was the fact of all the media going up for it. You couldn't turn on Sky Sports without seeing something about Liverpool.
Yeah, but let me tell you about that game, yeah, because I was there at that game, and I'll tell you something now, right? It was the most horrendous atmosphere before kickoff. They were all walking around with "We've already won the league" T-shirts. Yeah, they were selling them £5 a pop outside the stadium, and they're all bowling around as if they'd already won that league. Yeah. When our team coach came in, they were chucking eggs at it and everything. It was quite unpleasant outside. Completely different the year after. It was just a complete horrible atmosphere. Yeah. And then didn't they parade Louis Garcia as well prior to the game?
Oh my God!
Just to sort of throw it in our faces and that. And look, you know what? The stupid thing about Brendan Rodgers that day is that he didn't have to. You know what he should have done? He should have sat off and goes, right, you come to us, instead of played their natural game, yeah? Because they didn't actually, they couldn't, even a point would have been good enough for them. You know that. Yeah. But we ruined it for them that day. We ruined it. And outside after the game, they completely lost their heads. I mean, we were coming out, piling out, and we had a lot of Glasgow Rangers with us as well, like. And as we all piled out, they were flying into us and everything, like, you know. It wasn't very pleasant at all. Trust me. I completely lost it at the end of that game. No respect at all. I hate Liverpool. I do hate them.
With Liverpool, the team itself, the club,
they're in decline. They're dying.
I mean, they are. But, in terms of the team itself, Liverpool and what they've done, you have to respect about what they've done. They do have a massive history, but their fans go on about their history 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 4 weeks a month.
Yeah, character.
Right. In this day and age, if Liverpool were, they'd be top of the league if they went, yeah, we've got all this history. Yeah, we're going to win another trophy because of our history. That's not how it works.
But even Carragher, Jamie Carragher turned around and said he's embarrassed now with them kids. It's almost a bit ridiculous now, them going on about history to us. I mean, I ain't being funny. We've been rewriting it. We've been rewriting history. That's what we've been doing. You know, and when you think about it now, it gets to be Yawnsville now. I mean, what do we have to do to prove it to them? That's why they get on our nerves.
It's that.
And then you had all the stuff that they there was all this stuff coming out that apparently all our fans had spat on their memorial and stuff like that. And then it all came out. That was a complete load of tosh. That was a lie. And they even printed an apology in the Liverpool Echo. That wasn't true. And then anyone that goes to Liverpool will tell you can't turn left after kickoff after full time because all the police have blocked it all off. So you can't even go anywhere near the memorial. So we all knew it was rubbish, and it was proof that it was rubbish then. So I can't stand Liverpool. You know that. I really.
I mean, with that as well, and then to add oil to the fire.
And the guy on Redman TV, Eunice. Look at him.
Chris.
well, good old Chris, eh? You are rent boys. You're all fucking rent boys. That's what he said.
Oh man, I mean, that I remember when that first happened, and he came out of that. He did. I've spoken with him personally because I've met him, and I've you've seen content on Ball Street. I've done with him. We discussed it, and he told me personally that he was just absolutely fuming that day. He was seeing red, so he wasn't controlling what he was saying. It was just, but it shows that we get into their skin. It's just like that. But after
Eunice, can I just say the reason people hate Chelsea the most, and this is why people hate, and it's going to be tough for some people to digest in the comments. Yeah, the reason you hate us the most is because we win more matches than you. It's because at the end of a season we're lifting a Premier League trophy, we're winning the Champions League, we're just simply better. That's why when United were on top, they were hated. That's why when Arsenal were on top, they were hated. When I bring this argument out to people, they're like, no, Arsenal, we all loved Arsenal when they were winning. Yeah, sure, because people have very short memories. And, when you hear about when Chelsea, when we had Vialli and Zola, about how people love the fact that we played this nice open football. But the reason they liked us then was because we weren't winning anything.
Well, we were.
We were, but not to the level we are now. We were winning
No,
FA Cups.
of course not.
But of course we were winning stuff, but we weren't dominating the English football, were we? Like we were, like we are now. So that's why people hate us, because we're constantly there, constantly in finals, constantly winning trophies. If we're not there, then people don't hate you. It doesn't matter what you do. It's like people don't hate. People hate winners.
How far do Liverpool want to go back? Yeah. Do they only want to remember then 1970 to 1990? Is that it then? Because they were in the second division. I mean, when we were getting 120,000 in our stadium and pioneering this, and what we were doing. How far do they only want to remember the good times? Then do they want to?
Pretty much.
It just does my head in. Just does my head in. That is 26 years. 26 years in it. They ain't won the title.
Yeah. Exactly. And obviously, as I was going to say, to add oil to the fire, Mourinho and Benitez happened. And I really think we see managers, and there's a rivalry between managers. I really think Mourinho and Benitez hate each other. Like, it's beyond football, it's personal. I actually think they just completely despise each other. And that has just added complete oil. Like, you just got a whole barrel of petrol and just poured it on a massive fire with that, because it's just heated everything up between Liverpool and Chelsea, at least recently. But another rivalry I want to mention is, I'm going to sum it up in one word: UEFA Lona. I mean,
disgrace.
It's a disgrace. I mean, do you hate Barcelona? Because it got to a point I couldn't stand them, and then we finally did 2012, and we got our revenge.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Barcelona.
I don't hate them. I don't hate them now. I sort of, like Tony saying on Man United, I have a respect for them because of what they've done. However, you're right. There was a point where I absolutely despised Barcelona.
I hated them more than any other club at one point.
Yeah, I think it was that season where the Iniesta stuff happened. Oh, we should have got a cup. It was that season and the next season I completely despised them. Then Torres rounded Valdez, and then he just had and then it was all fine.
Well, 2009 would have been a repeat of United Chelsea in the Champions League final again. I don't think they wanted that. I remember at the time. Was it Platini?
Platini did not want another All-English final. Yeah.
And we would have won that. I mean, we were the better side in 2008, I thought, but we would have won that for sure that year. I thought we would have definitely got our revenge, and we were denied that by UEFA.
It was,
that was a conspiracy. I mean, not a conspiracy. It's a fact that whole game was completely corrupt and fixed. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care.
And that has sat with me. That has literally sat with me. And I don't hate the Barcelona players itself or the team itself, because they've come to win a football match, and it's the referee that has dealt with UEFA, not probably Barcelona. But but Barca and the way they play their football is pretty much where I only have the respect for them there, because they play incredible football. They've dominated world football. It's amazing to watch. But that game, 2009, Iniesta, it was blatant daylight robbery in the middle of the Sahara Desert where everyone can see. It was just unbelievable.
But we were superb that night, weren't we? I mean, we should have been 3-4-0 up, not even worrying about Iniesta's last-minute dock. I mean, it was everything that could go wrong, didn't it? I mean, 94th minute, wasn't it? The Iniesta goal, and
no. It was the
still had the penalty appeal after that, didn't we?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was the 93rd, I think, or the 92nd. Then the 94th, we had Ballack and the penalty decision there, and he started running after the ref.
Sat there and just felt. I couldn't. I was just trying to work out, how. It was just...
Every time I don't know about you guys, every time I think about that night, all the emotion just comes rushing back.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I can't bear it. It's just...
I know.
What was
I bought the end of season vid that year, as I do every year. Terrible, really, but there you go. And I used to skip past that bit. I don't want to see that bit. Took me a year to watch John Terry's penalty.
I mean, Dan, do you have what's your view on that night?
It was crazy. I mean, that's why when people bring up like, I mean, I've obviously said it on Twitter. I've made an article about the campaign against Chelsea. That's more a case of like not with referees. I think referees are just bad in the Premier League. I think a lot of it has to do with just their incompetence. But that night, there's no disputing that there was clearly something going on that night. I wouldn't say I hate Barcelona. There's definitely been that rivalry in the Champions League. We played them a lot of times. It's kind of equal between the two clubs in terms of wins and losses. And we played them. I think we played them 3 seasons in a row, if I'm right. I think we played them 04, 05, or 05, 06, and we got the next season. We got them in the group stages. And there's been some brilliant nights against Barca as well as there's been some heartbreaking nights. But yeah, that one definitely tops them all. I guess, I mean, I went back and watched the match. I must have been about 2 years ago because I was thinking about it and I was like, how bad was it? And then I watched the highlights and I was like, I didn't actually remember how bad it was in terms of how blatant the penalties were. You know, I don't know why I've forgotten how blatant they were, but it's just ridiculous. But I guess now it's like with the John Terry thing and the Moscow, I guess the pain's always there, but I don't. When someone brings it up to me, I'm like, yeah, but we won it in 2012, you know, in the most incredible way possible. So I guess that kind of numbs the pain in a way. Of course, you'll always watch it and kind of get a bit annoyed, but I guess that's why you always have that to look at and go, look, we did get our justice in the end, you know, and it's Torres going past Valdez, you know, it's the way we won that night in Barca in one of the most incredible matches. I've always said this. It's weird. I mean, it's weird to pick the favourite match out of that run in terms of 2012 because what one do you pick? Because of course you'd say it's like the Munich one, of course, because he won the trophy. But both were incredible as each other, so it's really difficult. Sometimes I sway towards Barca just because 10 men against the best club in the world when they're just on form. We got Lionel Messi in their backyard, just. Amazing, but I wouldn't say I hate. There's a lot to love about Barca because the football they play is just sublime. The youth system is something that I dream for at Chelsea. You know, there's a lot to be admired about that club, and as well, I think Arsenal fans as well probably will agree on this as well. I think they've got screwed out of a few times with Barca. I think in 2011, Van Persie, I think it was, got sent off wrongly. I remember watching that match and. Although most of the time I don't want other English clubs to go through, I remember sitting there going, that's clearly something wrong. And you do sometimes watch Barca and think, what's going on there?
Do you, Dan? Do you? Because there's quite a few people that actually turn around and say, I always want the English clubs to go through. I support the English clubs in Europe. Are you one of those?
No. The funny thing about that is, my granddad is one of those people. And it's very weird. I remember I was sitting there watching the Arsenal Moscow second leg in March with him, and he was sitting there and he was supporting Arsenal, which was the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life, and I couldn't believe it. But then I think it's a different generation thing as well. I think that was maybe, I don't know. I don't know any people of my age who support the other clubs, English clubs. I think it's just you want.
You know, we had a golden period, you know, in the 70s, where English clubs were just dominating Europe and all 3 European competitions. And at the time, everyone used to cheer everybody on. You know, Ipswich, you know, let's cheer Ipswich on, or you know, even Liverpool. You know, it's crazy, really. But now, obviously, you know, Liverpool in Europe, I'm supporting the opposition. You know, even Arsenal. You know, well, let's be honest. You know.
I mean, I think back then there's the whole culture of they're flying the flag just like we're flying the flag. You know, they're out there and they're representing England, so we're going to back them because they're English. And that mentality seems to have gone now. Now it's just an individual club rivalry thing where it's, if it's Arsenal in the Champions League, go on Malmo or go on Basel or God knows, you know.
I'll tell you another little one that's quite a lot of the old school might, again, another little contender. and a little bit maybe surprising for some, Celtic, because of our affiliation with Glasgow Rangers, you know, the old Blues Brothers. And for that reason, a lot of people would obviously say Celtic, you know, as you know, one of their most hated clubs. What about QPR? I mean, to me, they're annoying. They're like flies, aren't they? Flies.
My best mate is a QPR fan, and he's the only one I know because they only come out when we're playing them, you know, and then they go back in their shells, you know, I don't QPR. Yeah, I guess maybe you could say they're a hated club. They won't be hated as much because they're not in the Premier League. It's weird because in a way, you know, you have Arsenal, Tottenham, you have City, United, really local rivalries, and of course you can say we have London derbies, but we don't really have a local kind of rivalry. You'd probably say Fulham was never that because they don't have an atmosphere. So you know,
I'm glad you brought them up. Sorry, Dan. And again, this is back to the old school. Back in the day when people never used to travel away from home, and this is before my time, people used to go and watch Chelsea one week, Fulham the next. You know, so we certainly don't hate Fulham. We've never hated Fulham. They don't like us. I mean, the QPR absolutely despise us.
They hate us.
They hate us.
It's always been one way, though, isn't it? It's always been one way. It's a bit like Arsenal. It's always been one way, especially with QPR, because it's that kind of small mentality of like bitterness and and kind of a jealous feeling towards Chelsea.
I'd say,
no, I mean, with Arsenal,
pick one team that hate us more than any, it's QPR.
It is. Yeah. I mean, with Arsenal, they kind of have a reason. They're a big club, and you know they've gone downhill and they've seen us go up. They have a reason. QPR have never in their whole existence been a huge club, and they're just there like they're parasites, literally, as Tony said, just like flies.
I remember in the 80s and 70s, Eunice, we used to have all four sides of that ground. Seriously.
Yeah.
And they never used QPR. Never used to not even be in the stadium. It was all Chelsea, all four sides, like, you know. But obviously, you know, times have changed now, and they block off the roads and everything, don't they? Eunice?
Oh, they do. They're horrible.
They hold them back from you and all that. It's like the old days. You know?
Do you remember when last season? Was it last season? Yeah. Last season we went to cover QPR Chelsea in QPR, and we couldn't get any fan interviews. We just couldn't because the police had literally borderlined everything. We had to go all the way around the whole flipping area to even try and get round. And the next thing we know, all the Chelsea fans have gone.
And they were holding back a whole. I mean, it's one of them grounds. By the way, it's a nightmare stadium. I mean, it's the world's worst. You're climbing over people and round iron like girders, and
it's a residential area
just to try and get into your seat. And then it takes you about an hour to get out of it because it's like all like sardines. And then when you get out, they're holding back everyone from you. It's the most bizarre experience. But I mean, obviously, you could feel it in the air, couldn't you?
You can, yeah. They just don't.
But that's what I was saying. It's probably QPR is probably the closest we have to a hostile kind of local rivalry. Really local.
But I don't hate them at all.
I think that's what I do kind of hate them in a way because it's more of an annoyance more than anything. That game in April was one of my favourite victories of the season. Them singing "We're F off Chelsea, West London" in ours in their barely 20,000 seater stadium, which I found quite ironic. And then of course Fabregas scoring that goal. I think Fabregas' celebration. Fabregas' celebration was absolute quality. I mean, it's what all of us would have done. Just go and run over to those QPR fans, like the way they threw stuff on the pitch. You know, it just showed them up really.
They did.
And I loved it. And hopefully, you know, in a way, I do hope because it's probably the closest rivalry we sort of have. So. I don't know if I like it because it's tough going to their ground. I have to say it's probably our toughest away game last year. In truth,
but it's definitely a good weekend.
I was happy they went down. I don't know about you.
It was really hostile, and the fact that it had the whole kind of factor that we needed to win to kind of, and also Fabregas scoring really upset Arsenal fans because they thought they were in a chance of getting back into the title race. It was a massive day, but. I don't know if I said I hate QPR. I don't know if I really. They're more of an annoyance because we don't play them every year because they usually get relegated quite frequently. They can't stay in the league that often, can they? I mean, they stayed for about 2 seasons, but then they got relegated again. So I don't think I think Fulham. I don't think we'll be seeing them anytime soon. And even as I said, there's no hatred, as you say, Tony. It's that we Chelsea fans used to go and watch Fulham, and that's you'll never see a rivalry between them. So we don't really have a real local rivalry other than QPR.
Louis, do you hate QPR?
It's saying like what you guys are saying about QPR. I agree with that. They are just an annoying club, just annoying. It's like they're not as annoying as Man City because Man City just they're actually a problem, if you know what I mean. QPR are just like we're better than you. Yeah, they're like when you're at school and you're like you go into the playground and then you've got a little year 7 or something comes up to you and starts trying to wind you up. That little 7 is QPR. That little year 7 is QPR, and you're just there, just going, what? Just what?
Fair play. You summed that up nicely. But I think with QPR, I had the little personal thing with QPR because I remember I did a video on my channel before all of this, and I addressed QPR fans at the way that they were singing about John Terry. I gave them a piece of my mind, and saying, you guys, no one else has done this in the league except you guys. You just the whole game for 90 minutes, absolutely ripping into John Terry before there was even any decision made. Whether they'd gone through court or whatnot. They were just completely destroying him, saying he was a racist.
What annoys me about that situation is the fact, right? He went to the court of law. And he was proven not a racist. Yet when he goes to the FA, they say, yeah, you were racist. Give him a ban, give him a fine. But in the court of law, so, in the real world, not in the little bubble of football, he was proven not to be racist.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's be honest. The FA already had made their judgment about what JT... It was clear them taking the armband off him before he'd even go to court made it very clear and evident to all of us. This is the way I feel about it. Whether you feel he's racist or not, we've got to look at some facts. These are the facts. He went to a court of law and was proven not guilty. Whatever you feel about John Terry, whether you think your opinion is that he's a racist, fine. That's your opinion. Yeah. To me, what it looked like was the FA had already made fools of themselves because they'd already made the assumption that JT was going to be found guilty. So they have to have this independent inquiry about him with independent independent panel they call it. I'd like to know who's actually on that panel, and then he's found guilty. So it was in a way it was the like them kind of backtracking in a way, kind of my opinion. I know there's a large other than Chelsea fans, I'm sure there's a large majority of people, and I've said this before, I think John Terry, other than on the football pitch, seems like a very dodgy guy, and I'll admit that. And I know that's not maybe the popular opinion amongst Chelsea fans, but I have to admit that the actions he's done, there's some, but on the pitch, he is absolutely the best through.
Yeah, and he's the best centre back in the Premier League history, if you ask me.
And you look at what the likes of Rio Ferdinand has done, and going on Twitter, and basically, of course, he didn't tweet it himself; he retweeted it, but. Calling Ashley Cole a chalk ice after the whole incident. I think that was once again something that really disgusted me. So it's tough to talk about now. It's such a hostile kind of thing, and
it is. Yeah.
John Terry's still playing for Chelsea. That's the way it is. I don't know. And I know there'll be a load of people right now assuming that I'm a racist, but
it really does. It does my nutting.
That's the way it is, and I don't know, Eunice. It's just I don't know. It gets to me because it annoys me that in this country, kind of overall now, we have this assumption, and I've said this on here before. This is kind of getting into politics a bit, but we have this assumption that it's guilty until proven innocent. Especially with racism, and racism is a very big claim to be throwing around, in my opinion. It's not something that can be just chucked around like something you do. Calling someone stupid, it's not. It doesn't fall in that same category. If you're going to label someone racist, you better have some good evidence about that. But I don't know. We're going into murky territory now, and going track again. We did the other day because it's something that infuriates and I think kind of annoys us. But you're never going to change any of those. Something I want to say. I'll leave it, but no, it's something that infuriates all of us. So it's a very emotional topic, definitely.
No, it is. But I mean, with QPR and that whole issue, especially when I did that video about the whole John Terry thing and addressing them, their fans ripped into me. They destroyed me in the comments. They were going off on one for about 2 months, just leaving comments on that video. I think it got quite a lot of views, and I thank them for that. But you know, they just destroyed it. They just went off on one, and yeah, their fans are a reason why QPR seem to be a very annoying club.
So the contenders are Liverpool, Tottenham, Leeds, Celtic, Barcelona, Man City, Man United, and Arsenal.
And QPR.
And we'll toss QPR in.
Yeah.
Are we not putting Barca in there?
I said Barca.
Did you? Sorry.
Yeah.
I can't think of anybody else. Maybe West Ham or Millwall. I mean, Millwall's chucked in. West Ham.
I mean, that's all. That was all hooligan based.
Yeah.
It was all completely hooligan based. So I don't really. We can't really.
So it'd be interesting to find out. We can collate this, can we? What people say.
Yeah, we can. You know, we can.
100% top 4 hates are.
Yeah. What I think what we'll do is I'll organise a poll. Arsenal fans are going to be good at this. I think
Arsenal fans on the ready to keyboard. Hashtag SNHQ Sanchez. That's.
No, what I'm going to do, I'm going to organise a poll. I'll stick that.
That's a brilliant call, Nick Scotia, Paris Saint-Germain.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, with PSG, I don't really hate PSG. I don't know about you. I just think that there's a decent rivalry. It's a fresh rivalry. It's just started. It's the last couple of years, and it's been obviously Europe, the whole Denver Bar game and all that, and afterwards when they beat us and they knocked us out, I think it's just normal football between us two, really. But that could be one for the future. That could be a rivalry in 10 years' time that we could be going, flipping hate PSG. You know, who knows?
So what's our 1, 2, 3, 4 then? If we do it as a collective, and then we'll get the 1, 2, 3, 4 between us.
Yeah, let's. I don't know. Let's start off with 4.
Look at Louis.
Lol.
Right, Louis goes with Spurs, and Spurs. That's his top 4.
Wait, hold on. And joint fourth.
QPR.
Spurs and QPR.
I mean, all right. Let's all agree. Who should we go with for 4th?
QPR.
Yeah, sorry, QPR, not Spurs.
QPR.
QPR, yeah.
Tone?
We're going majority. We're going to go majority rules, yeah? It's got to be, innit?
Okay, yeah.
If I was going to go 4th, I'd chuck in for the old school Leeds. For the 70s boys. Cool.
See, I'll chuck in Leeds on my 3rd, but we need to get Leeds in there, I think.
Do we? Okay.
Well, man, keep your 3rd.
No, that's why I'm putting.
Where does QPR come from?
That's why I put QPR 4th and Leeds 3rd.
You know, I think, as I've said, QPR.
I don't know this.
They hate us more than we.
Who do we put as 4th though? That's the thing. I'm trying to think of teams that I hate more than the 3 I've got. Like Millwall. Millwall's the only other team. Millwall.
Celtic. A lot of Chelsea say Celtic.
This isn't going to happen. I think we'll have to go with Leeds, surely.
We're Leeds at number 4, yeah?
Yeah, at 4. At 4.
Leeds 4.
Okay, we'll go at Leeds 4. It's surprising Arsenal didn't finish 4th in this one. I'm kidding.
Well, I thought they would have got 4th.
Shots fired.
Shots fired. Anyway, yeah, Leeds 4th, 3rd.
Well, this is entertaining.
It's hard. There's too many teams.
Well, I know 1 and 2. We all know 1 and 2. I reckon.
I think we've got. I don't know. Oh, this is tough. I think Arsenal have got to be third, but not in my personal four. I would not have. I'd have
Well,
a different.
who would you have in your third?
My third would be. Personally, I'd probably put Arsenal third. No, sorry, Spurs third.
Spurs third.
What?
Are you all right, mate?
Spurs.
Daniel, there was a bloke in the comments saying you were high earlier. I think he is.
I'm back. No.
You high?
Trying to shut me out. No. Basically, no, because there are two teams that I probably. It's weird. It's tough because I was saying earlier, like I'd probably put Spurs second, maybe second or third.
Well, who's this mystery team you're on about then that gets in your top 2?
Okay, I'll announce my four. It'd be.
Okay. It's easier, isn't it, that way?
Okay, Liverpool, Arsenal, Leeds, and Spurs. In that kind of order.
Tony, who would your four be?
Well, I'm struggling. I personally probably be Celtic, Leeds. Something. I'm doing that for the old school, the Celtic one, because I think that's most people's second favourite club is Glasgow Rangers.
Yeah.
We do have that affinity with Rangers, yeah.
Yeah, we do.
You know, so people would toss Celtic in for that matter, you know, as a matter of course, yeah. Leeds for the 70s lot, and then it might surprise you, but I'll go 2 Tottenham and 1 because I hate them more than anything.
Actually, can I take Arsenal out?
And that might surprise people because
take Arsenal.
You know.
Take Arsenal out and put Millwall in.
Millwall? What's that? What? That's an hooligan thing, isn't it?
I tell you what, Daniel, you're definitely not on weed. I'm gonna put even not. I think you're on ketamine, mate.
I'm straight edge, man. I don't take drugs.
It's not a football factory, this, is it?
You're a hooligan.
No,
Yeah, exactly.
it's tough, man, because there's so many clubs that like you're because it's tough. You forget like Celtic are probably I don't like Celtic because of the Glasgow Rangers thing. But it's tough because
why Mill though? Mill.
I don't know. I'm just thinking the clubs that I just don't like. But it's tough. I don't know. I'd probably say I hate Arsenal more than I do Millwall. So.
Well, I'm surprised Arsenal aren't in that 4. You know, but there you go. But.
Well, Louis, who would your 4 be?
Well, Leeds at 4th, definitely. I know I said it was a grudge and respect, but Manchester United I'm going to put in at 3 for me. Yeah. But that's because of what happened with Juan Mata.
He's keeping it personal.
I wanted him to stay. He was like, right, you're right. You know when you have a guy or a player who's your favourite and like they leave and they go to like that is why.
Yeah.
He was my favourite, and it's like I've like since then and before then I never really had a very standout favourite player in the current squad. So basically I had sort of. Before it would have been Zola, then Mata came, and I really loved Mata. So I was like, right, Mata's now my favourite player, and he said, I'm staying for years. And I'm like, right, we'll go Mata for a while. Mata's my favourite player. That's
what about Lampard, man?
I love Lampard, but I never really had a standout favourite player in the squad because we've had such a great squad. Yeah. But you know, then he went to Manchester United. I mean, when in the August transfer when he went to PSG, you know, I wouldn't mind him going to PSG because you know that's overseas, so you know we aren't going to see him so often, you know. But the fact that he went to Manchester United ground my gears, and that's why I got Man United at 3. 2, I've got Liverpool because I have Scouse family members, so they support Everton. So I've grown up to hate Liverpool as well as Chelsea with the ghost goal and stuff. So I've got all that. So Liverpool at 2, and then I think we already know who my number 1 is. That's already settled. Yeah. But you know, I've stuck Spurs there because you know I hate Spurs. I want that club to go into the ground. I want them to go into so much debt that they have to be relegated because that's stadium.
Well, I mean, with me, Leeds 4th. I don't know why. As we've said, they just annoy me. I just have to put QPR at 3rd. They're just on my nerves. They're just there. So I'm going to put QPR at third. I'm going to put... Oh, this is hard. Number 2 will have to be, as of right now, Spurs. And number 1, Liverpool.
Yeah, I'll stick with that. That's probably a good list.
Yeah, because Liverpool just on my nerves. Spurs are just Spurs. QPR just flies, and Leeds are just Leeds. So yeah.
Oh, Harry Dollar in the comments. Where's Vitesse?
It's Leeds, QPR, or it's QPR, Leeds. No, it's Leeds, QPR, Tottenham, Liverpool.
Liverpool.
Could we switch round QPR and Leeds? Put QPR fourth and Leeds first.
If you want, I think Leeds have a more historically based,
it's more personal
hate with us than QPR, definitely, yeah. So we can do that. Are we in accordance with that?
Yeah, that's a good top. That's a good
I'd like
bottom
to know,
four, whatever way you put it.
I'd like to know what people out there think. I would suggest, I would think that Arsenal being the 4.
I mean, you know that as we've said, in terms of Arsenal's top 4 hated teams, that we're probably number 1 for them.
No. It'd be Tottenham.
Oh yeah, no, sorry, Tottenham.
But then we'd be right behind them.
Yeah, we're second for sure. But with us, as I said, we don't. Why should we hate them? It's just that their fans are constantly a bit annoying with us. But apart from that, we don't really, we don't have a problem with Arsenal.
Why do people hate Tottenham so much though? Because if you think about it, Arsenal can't stand them. We can't stand them. West Ham can't stand them.
Yeah.
It's
Everyone just despises them. I don't know. I think they attract negativity.
They're just a stupid club. I do not like Spurs. I do not like them.
But someone's put up a good comment. What about Everton? After this whole Stones thing, has your hate for Everton developed?
I can't hate Everton. I honestly, if I hated Everton and I walked into that house, I would not be walking out of it.
Okay, you can say you like them just for the benefit of that. But the others, do you guys hate Everton at all?
No, not really.
No?
Not really. I'm annoyed with what they've been coming out with and all this 15-year rubbish. This wouldn't have happened 15 years ago and all that. And, we said 15 years ago they were 13th and we were 5th. So, I mean, that sort of thing annoys me. But then supporters are, all supporters are going to say stuff like that, I guess. But I don't think there's any, I actually like Goodison Park. I think it's one of my favourite grounds.
It is one of my favourite grounds.
It's got a real,
buzz about.
Yeah, it has, mate, yeah.
No, for sure. I think what we'll do, obviously we've decided our top 4 hated teams in terms of being Chelsea fans. What I'll do, I'll organise a poll. I'll leave the link to the poll in the description once this video goes off the air and the comment section becomes born. You can leave your comments in the description. You'll find a link to the poll. Go on the poll, leave your vote. Who is your most hated team as a Chelsea fan? And then tomorrow we'll read out the results. And we'll give who the public's top 4 hated teams. That's Chelsea
someone's already done a poll for us, actually, Eunice.
Have they?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. So someone's already made one for us. Let me just find. I did it and copy pasted it. So big up to ex Swanee.
Someone said on here, which is a very important thing. We went on about the cringe boys, like Man City. The way Sky like to build the City Chelsea games now, it's all like it's the clash of the money, the nouveau rich and
it's the El Clasico.
Yeah, the El Clasico and all that. They're trying to build this massive rivalry between us, But
yeah,
I don't think it's ever going to blossom into a massive rivalry unless something really, really big happens, like massive, and I'm talking huge. Like I know Eden Hazard leaves Chelsea for Manchester City, which would never happen.
I think we're the most hated club, though, aren't we? We're the most hated club.
Honestly, I reckon if you went to most Premier League clubs, Chelsea would be, or established Premier League clubs, Chelsea would be in the top 4 teams.
Well, we are number 1. I think I read somewhere we're number
1.
We were number 1 last year and the year before that, and we overtook Man United. I don't know whether United 3 games it, but I know it's been us and United for a while. You know.
Yeah. No, the world hates us. That's established. I think the moral of the story is that we're talking about teams that Chelsea fans hate, when in reality everyone else hates us.
That's why I'm surprised QPR are in it, because I don't hate QPR at all. It's them that hate us. You know, I don't. Like I said, I've never really had any hatred for Arsenal.
No.
Really?
No.
You know.
Yeah, that's true, Max. That is true.
Not hate, you know.
No, as I said, hate is a strong word. It's a very strong word. But you know, there is a dislike. But as for everyone else, they do hate Chelsea. You know, as I said, hate is a strong word, but a lot of people do hate Chelsea, and it's true when we say it's us against the world. So we're just gonna have to live with it, guys.
So what's the poll say then?
I can, you know what makes me happy at the end of every season, even if Chelsea don't win the league, it's just the fact that Spurs aren't ever in that top 4, and they spend so much money and they still can't do it. And the only time they did do it, we won the Champions League, so they couldn't do it. Good time.
I mean, I mean, with Arsenal, they have what is it? Tottenham's Day or something like that, where they celebrate finishing ahead of Tottenham.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's been going on for what, 19 or 20 years now, something like that. You know, they're constantly so they celebrate finishing ahead of Tottenham. Again,
They celebrate
we just
finishing
don't like
fourth.
Tottenham.
They celebrate finishing 4th. Well, that's not changed, does it?
Well,
I know they finished 3rd last season, but that might be the last time they do it.
that broke the streak, didn't it? Yeah.
They broke the streak. What happens is they do sort of, maybe like last year they did a sacrifice or something. Like, Wenger maybe, did something, brought in another youth player or something, or did something like that, or brought in, or maybe them buying Sanchez.
Oh, there we go.
Sacrifice.
Look, Man United 68. Is that a poll? Was that the poll? That can't be right, can it?
I think it is so far. Hold on, let me just refresh. I'm just gonna.
United.
United 68, Chelsea 65,
Why Chelsea?
Liverpool 60, City 53, Tottenham 46, Arsenal 41. Well, Man City are making their way up.
Arsenal, right? I've already done the vote.
Wrong, isn't it?
At the minute, there's been 4 votes on this guy's thing. I'm the only person who's voted for Spurs, and 3 people have voted for Arsenal. What's wrong with you guys?
I think
That's what I thought it would be Arsenal.
Yeah, I've got a feeling Arsenal might just win this.
It'd be interesting though. Maybe obviously with all your comments, we can tie it up and then announce it tomorrow.
Yeah, no, definitely. What I'll do anyway, regardless, is after we go off the air in a sec, what I'll do, I'll get a poll, I don't know, with whatever one it is, but you'll find it in the description. Go on it, and tomorrow on Daily Blues, we'll mention the results of that poll and who all of you hate. So,
Eunice, can I quickly do the fantasy league table, because I know we didn't do that this week so far.
Oh yeah, go for it. I have completely forgotten about fantasy league, given my own team.
Doesn't that happen with everybody? Everyone just forgets about it completely. Right. Yeah. Okay. I think there's only one person who can do the fantasy league results.
Come on, Simon.
Hello and welcome to the Hapax Legomenon of the University Challenge League with me, Simon McGovern. I seem to have lost an eyebrow, but that's completely normal. So, currently at the top of the league is AJ Bruv, managed by AJ Choi, with 202 points. Closely followed by Blue Army 1905, managed by Vincent Clark, who's making his way back on 195 points. I'm sorry, it's a really bad Scottish accent right now, but that's because I'm having to whisper. The Stora, managed by Manjo Gupta, is on 194 points, followed by Daniel Curry with Tikamo Salah Curry on 193. That is your top 4. Now we go into the important things, finding out where the 100% Chelsea crew lie in the table.
Nah, mate, I'm probably somewhere near the bottom still. Go on.
All right. Simon, I can't do it when I'm whispering. Simon's going to go. I'm sorry, Simon.
Simon's gone to bed.
Just leave. Just go and get a drink or something. Right. Okay. So, I'm in 43rd,
Yeah.
which isn't bad. I've gone up 4 positions. I'm on 145 points.
Yeah.
Daniel is in 50th with
Okay.
139 points. Oh dear. Oh dear. Eunice,
Yeah.
how do you only have 51 points?
I don't know.
Because you're currently 62nd and you've gone up 1 position.
I've gone up. Oh, quality. That's great. I think
He
that's
was stuck in the Matrix.
and unfortunately for FC Bain, managed by Jacob and Teeny, you're 70th. I'm really sorry, mate. But actually, no. To be fair to the guy, he actually only did just start this week. Eunice, you have no
I've had
excuses.
2 weeks. I've had 2 out of the last 3 or 4. I came late, you know.
Actually, hold on, wait. You know what? I take
You
that.
might
Back.
have to
I misread the table.
To go to that Mondo goal, you may have a little bit more luck.
I misread the table, Eunice. You don't have 51 points. That's what you got this week.
Oh, quality. Okay, how much do I have?
117.
So where am I?
You're 62nd, but you are like 9 points behind the next person. You're miles away.
Oh, all right, that's cool. I'm fine with that. I didn't even check it this week, so
Don't worry,
I will keep up
it's
to
a
date.
marathon, not a sprint.
Hey, don't worry. You know, Chelsea at the moment sit what? Where are we? 16th or
13th.
Well, yeah, don't worry. We'll still finish top 2, surely. You know,
Other than that, we'll be covering daily championship next year.
I'm gonna pull off a Chelsea in this fantasy league. Anyway, that's Daily Blues for tonight. Guys, thank you for joining in this wonderful discussion on who we hate. Tomorrow will be a different topic. We will let you know on Twitter, so please follow the Twitter. Tony, Daniel, Louis, thank you guys.
No
Pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Good. Pleasure.
Follow all of them on Twitter. Follow Tony at Tony 100% Chelsea. We got Daniel at Son of Chelsea and his YouTube channel at Son of Chelsea. Check it out. We got Louis, which is at Louis the Boogaloo, and 100% Chelsea. All the links are in the description below. All social media links. Subscribe to 100% Chelsea if you are new, and all of us will see you tomorrow for more Daily Blues. So be sure to check out the poll in the description after this goes off the air, and we'll see you tomorrow. Guys, you can say goodbye.
Bye, guys.
Goodbye.
See you later.
See ya.
Cheers for watching.